Whenever you're starting a new edit project, one of the things that is very advantageous is that each individual project lives on its own, that it is self-contained. And this is important for two things. One is portability, and the second is archivability. How easy will it be for us to put this project away? And if you look here on the left window, here is one of my mobile drives. Now I want to keep all of my video projects on separate external drives, and that makes them easier to move about between machines. And on this particular drive, you can see I have a handful of different projects here. And when I twirl these guys down, they all look about the same. They all have the same stuff in them. Here's another one. All has the same bits in them. Okay, now the way we go about doing that is we have sort of a unified default project setting, which we have over here in this folder called template project. Now this is a folder that I keep on my hard drive, and it's very easy to be able to clone this or duplicate this or copy these items into a new project folder. So let's say, for example, we're starting a new project, and I want to come over here and I want to make myself a new folder. Okay. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to date it with today's date, which is 2011, March 31st, and then I'm going to call this my my practice project. Okay. Now when I open that folder, you can see there's nothing in it. So what I do is I go over to my template project, I select all these guys, and I drag them from my internal drive to my external drive, and you see the little plus sign? That means it's going to make a copy of them. So there we go. We have all of the same folders all lined up and ready to go. That's very handy. Now I can close this folder. I'm just going to minimize it. Put it down. Do I want to minimize? Now we'll just we'll go like that. And now I can start with my new project. Now this is very handy because all of these folders make sense. I have a whole tutorial about what they mean, and the actual project is in here. Now if you're just getting started in editing, the two things you're going to use the most are edit and scratch disk. Edit and scratch disk. Now if I twirl down my edit folder, you can see it says put your project name here. Okay, so this is going to be called my practice project, and at this point I can launch that. Now the reason I have this ZZ old is once I get working on a project, like every day I'll make a new copy of it, date and time stamp it, put the copy of it down in the ZZ old, and then I'll continue to launch this one. So at this point I'm going to launch my project called Practice Project. And when I open that, you can see it already has some stuff here. Now again, all of these bins are outlined in another tutorial, but the most important thing you're going to do when you start a new project is you come up to the Final Cut menu, and you have to do this every time you open a new project or you revisit an old project. Go to System Settings. Under the tab here, Scratch Disk, you'll go to Set. Now at this point, I go to that external hard drive, I open up my practice project, I come down to my scratch disk, I open it, and I select Choose. And what that does is it's going to make all of the renders and all of the captured media for this project be inside the project, and therefore again making it more transportable and easier to archive and to put away at a later date. So at this point, I'll take this sample sequence here, and you can see I have this lined up, so it's sort of pre-named to give me a hint on how I like to name it, client project element. So I do work for a lot of different projects, so let's say I'm doing something for IBM, and the project is National Sales Meeting, and maybe this is the opening module, and this is my first version of it. So that gives me all of my data that I need for what that is. Double click on it, and now I'm ready to begin editing. So that's the simplest interpretation of how you start off on a brand new project.